So if we are okay with moving on to Cecilia. Cecilia, what have you gotten out of all of this, and how can we how can we like do something for you since we have the time?
Okay, not sure. Actually, I lost my job very recently. I haven't even changed my LinkedIn or anything, and I think I kind of threw up my hands, thinking I just need to find something like more entry level, or just to again get a little, have something to do and get a little bit. I need to get my daughter through college 2 more years, and then then I'm pretty good or better off. So that's one thing. And then I was thinking, well, maybe I could do, like become a substitute teacher, or I looked at, teaching English as a second language, something like that. I mean, it's very, it doesn't pay anything. And I did sign up to be teaching English as a second language volunteer this summer. And I was looking at Georgetown teaching English as a foreign language certificate in the fall. So that's kind of where I am. Again, sort of thinking that applying for jobs at this point might just be, may not work out so well. It's my feeling.
Mm-hmm. So are you set on becoming an ESOL teacher, or are you just throwing a spaghetti against the wall and
Yeah,
seeing
that's a
what
little
it
bit
is?
spaghetti on the wall, I guess. I was just, again, there's, very little money there. I was just thinking that maybe something I could do into retirement, a few hours here and there, and do it remotely, and maybe do it from someplace else than DC. But again, this is very, very, very new to me, or I did do over 40 like a year and a half ago, and I found it very helpful at the time. And so I just signed up for this this webinar without really, even much looking at it, just thinking I just kind of need to, start thinking, in these terms again.
Mm-hmm. So you have two coaches here. If you had a question to ask, what would be your question?
Well, I haven't thought about hiring a career coach, to be honest with you.
No.
That might be one way to go about it.
Well, the career coach, most likely, if I were that career coach, I'll ask you, what is it that you'd like to know? What would you like to do better or no? Right? So if you haven't thought about that, I mean, the reason that we coaches use questions is that first, it helps us figure out what is it that we need to know. And then it helps the client figure out what is it that they need to know. Right? So if I asked you, what kind of questions might you have for a coach? You have two coaches right here. We're not charging anything. What question would you have? And by the way, Neil, same with you. If you have the question as a coach right now, what would it be, right? So the way that we phrase our questions say something about that. So it's not a criticism. It's just an invitation for clarity. Have a question. And when I network, I have a question, and then I have something to offer. That's just the way I do it. Maybe nobody else's way of doing it, but that's the way I do it, right? So there. So if you'd like to think about a question and then write back to us, Cecilia, you're welcome. Or if you already have a question in mind, ask it. No question is too small. Okay? All right. So it kind of sort of was a demo. You see how that works, right? I mean, basically, I will ask you as a coach, what are your goals? Neil, it sounds like your goal is to find a job. We know nothing about what kind of job it is. We know nothing yet about the level of job that you want. So those are the, what is the goal? What is the goal of this conversation right now, right? And the next thing is, okay, so you want to find a job or you want to become a teacher, right? What are the realities surrounding that? Neil already mentioned that he doesn't have as much time as he used to have because he's now in a full-time job. Yeah, you might want to think about, what are some possibilities? What are some things that can help me? What are some obstacles I have right now? What is the reality surrounding what I want to do, right? And then given that lay of the land, what are some options I can explore? Okay. And then the last question is something that always gets my clients to hum and ha is, so what will you do next Monday?